Abu Dhabi, endless golden sands, stunning architecture, and a maritime history that is forged into the beautiful Arabian Gulf. It's a SailGP debut here and is part of a new sporting era of world-class events. We're at the business end of Season 4, and every point matters for the inaugural Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix. The United Arab Emirates and Abu Dhabi are the backdrop for Championship Sunday as the world's best sailors converge on the Arabian Gulf. Today, an event champion will be crowned as one of the 10 international teams will hoist the trophy as the winner at the inaugural Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix, presented by Abu Dhabi Sports Council. Welcome to the finale of Stop 7 of Season 4 of SailGP. With a stunning backdrop of UAE's capital city and a rich maritime history, Abu Dhabi takes center stage in the sailing world. Alongside former world champion Emily Nagel and Olympian Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. After one day of racing, it's Spain that leads the fleet with 21 points after their 2 wins yesterday. New Zealand is 1 point back in second place, and then it's the USA and Canada, even in third on 19 points. France, Australia, and Denmark are next, separated by just a single point. Emirates GBR, the Germans, and the Swiss represent the bottom 3. 2 more fleet races are scheduled for the day, and then the field is cut to just the top 3 teams on points. Then it's on to the final for 1 race to determine the overall event winner. Before we go racing, here's Stevie Morrison with a look at today's course map.
We're above the sunny Abu Dhabi, and let's take a look at today's race course that the teams are going to face. It's a sprint to Mark 1, and that's going to be as crucial as ever. After Mark 1, the boats can sail their own course, trying to find the shortest time between gates. At each gate, they can turn left or right. It's important we remember that sailing boats only go fast when they sail at an angle to the wind, so we see them zigzagging their way around the course for tactical advantage. It's a light airs day today, so it's all on those wing trimmers to get the maximum speed out of the boats to finish first, in front of the fans on the shore.
Spectacular for the fans making their way into the Adrenaline Lounge and the perfect viewing areas. Right now we check in with the 4th member of our crew down on the water. Here's Olympics Lisa Darmanin.
We've got a similar forecast to yesterday of 8 kilometres per hour from the northwest, gusting up to 17 kilometres per hour, hopefully. And it has arrived a little earlier than we saw yesterday from the right direction, so that is super promising. We've got the same configuration as yesterday, so those big 29-metre powerful wings, and once again, there are just 4 people on board to help with the weight of the boat. The lighter the boat, the more likely we're going to see that H1 mode. A few boats have popped up on the foils, but that becomes so much more difficult when there's 10 other F50s around you and all that disturbed wind. It's still quite light, so I have just heard from race management that unfortunately we are going to be under delay. We don't know how long, and so I'm going to keep an eye on this wind, and I'll let you know when it fills in and if any word from race management.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. Much more from you throughout the day. So, Emily, another race hold as they wait for the pressure to build. What's it like, as we've talked about, being a 4th-stater on that boat, and now you're just waiting for Mother Nature to deliver?
Yeah, well, we can see that they are actually out and sailing around. So while they are under delay, they are going to be getting in as much practice as possible, really fine-tuning the setup that they're going to need for today's racing.
And Stevie, is this a promising side? At least they're sailing in H1?
Yeah, I think it's great. We see them up in the air. You know, we've got the sun shining. We just need that wind to start coming in. And as Lisa says, for the crews now, it's what have they learnt overnight? What have they improved on? What are they better at? And we'll find out who's managed to turn their shape around and keep themselves where they are.
All right, while we wait for the wind to fill in, we want to take you back to yesterday, day number 1, and a highlight look at race number 1 here at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix.
Denmark at the top of the line. Watch for the line to turn white. It's going to be Denmark, Canada out the middle. Watch for that line to turn white. And we're going to be racing here in Abu Dhabi. Oh, it's New Zealand. Brilliant acceleration from the Kiwis. They've jumped off that start line. Denmark at the top of the line. Nathan said he'd been working on his starting. They're going to have a slower angle into Mark 1 than New Zealand, but I think Denmark and New Zealand are going to be fighting for first at Mark 1, and this could be crucial with Slingsby hanging on the inside. Can Australia get in there overlapped? It's really tight. Slingsby doesn't think so. First going to be New Zealand, second for Australia, and Denmark on the outside. It could get hard for them from here. Another reaching leg. They're going to sail back across the wind towards the Fan on the shoreline, and it's advantage to those first two boats, three boats really. They've stretched away. Look at the pack, bottom of our screen. USA, Spain, France, Canada and Switzerland tied together by a piece of string, and there's really not much wind there. Germany have got no rights to dive inside here. They should go round last, but will there be opportunity with Spain looking really slow? Will the Germans be aggressive and try and cut the corner inside? When you're just sailing in a straight line, there's no tactical advantage. You've only really got the thing of trying to trim your wing, trim your sails as efficiently as possible. But if you've got less wind because you're behind them and in their disturbed wind, you just can't hope to go as fast. So for New Zealand and their fans, it's great news. Australia, Slingsby, has he left the door open for Giles Scott on board Emirates GBR? Looks like he might. Oh, here we go. Protest coming from Slingsby. He's got no room in there on board Great Britain.
Swimming down.
Here we go, New Zealand. They're choosing to turn right. Lisa said there was more wind in towards the fans in the adrenaline lounge there, but the problem with that is it's another manoeuvre and you're going to sail through the disturbed wind from the fleet. So New Zealand, well, there's a simple saying in sailing, keep it simple, stupid. And when you're out in front, it's an awful lot easier to keep it simple than it is for those other boats in the pack. But the Kiwis are doing a very, very nice job of that at the moment. That's a big lead at gate 3. Tricky situation for Denmark. Great Britain did have the right of way there, so I wouldn't, again, there's a lot of incidents taking place here. It'll be interesting to see if Denmark gets away with that move. Top of screen, Canada, they turn left. Up to second place, the Canadians. Could be a good move for Phil Robertson here. Done a great job of finding space. Look in the pack. Oh my Lord, it's such slow motion. Denmark, yeah, they get a penalty. That's versus Great Britain. That's going to be really costly. They had to give room for Great Britain to go inside. They just couldn't avoid it. They're going so slowly out there at the moment.
And meanwhile, back up at the top, the Kiwis are already rounding the next gate, sailing at 20 kilometers an hour.
The rich keep getting richer, and right now the wealthy are the Kiwis, as they are in front already through the next gate, heading back in. They could possibly lap some teams, Stevie, as they make their way down the left side of the course on your screen. Of course, SailGP powered by Mother Nature. Mother Nature right now in a bit of a finicky move, not providing the pressure they need, but they're making the most of it, going in that H1 mode, flying that hull. Like 5 of 6, as the majority of the fleet will make the turnaround gate number 4, then it's back down to the course, and then the left-hand turn to the finish line. As a nice tight crossing there between Canada and Australia, as the Canadians, under the guise of Phil Robertson, currently sitting in second place. Remember, they finished in 3rd at the last event down in Dubai.
I just feel they're real confident sailors on that Canadian team as well. When they're on fire, they're absolutely on fire here, the German crew. They'll be looking for a good result. Sat in the pack, 5th place. 3rd for Australia, 4th for France. But look how tight it is. Switzerland, they have the right of way here. Germany have got to be careful. Great Britain have got to keep clear. Denmark are going to be able to spin inside. They've somehow managed to keep themselves in the race on board the Danish boat after that penalty at the bottom gate. It's so congested in the pack.
And the winners of the last event, Peter Burling and company, will move on, and they will claim race number 1 of the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix.
And just behind them, we've got the Australians and Canadians coming towards that final mark. Now, they split around that top gate, so taking opposite sides on that final leg. And it looks like it's benefited the Australians going in close to shore by the adrenaline.
Canada's got one hull up here, Emily. It's going to be tight. The Canadian boat's faster at the minute, but the Australian boat's got the right of way. Australia, tactical advantage, but Canada's going to try and go around the outside. I hope Phil Robertson's not talking to me there.
Good at the moment. He's slow, right, Philippe? How slow is he?
Oh, did you hear that, Todd? That's Phil Robertson asking his coach about the tactical situation. Philippe Presti's on shore, looking at the computer screen, showing where the boats are relative to each other. Phil's able to press a button, talk to his coach. Incredible, the technology out here as he now tries to shoot.
Because he has more speed, he's able to avoid getting the penalty, and he can go right around Tom Slingsby.
Yeah.
and it is Canada that will take second place.
Oh, Todd,
and
it's a penalty.
comes on.
Wow.
Still fit.
The penalty, they obviously think that they gave not enough room to Australia to make the turn. Well, that's going to certainly raise an eyebrow from
Great.
Phil Robertson.
Nice work, guys. Wow, got to stand here.
Oh, Phil is not happy with that one. But as he says, he'll drop back behind Australia, so still a great result. Look at the pack here. France, they've worked up to fourth. But I think the Danish are in pole position, and the Germans, well, they might get a chance to overtake Emirates Great Britain as well. Look at that. People are happy with a third or a fourth in this condition because they're so easy to get a finish right at the back of the pack. Denmark, well, they've done well. That could have easily been a disaster after the penalty at gate 3.
So Nathan Outeridge filling in for the great Dane. Nikolai Sehested steers the Danes into a top 5 position after France finishes in 4th. And now the race is on for 6th place. And it looks like the Germans are just going to edge past Emirates GBR. So an exciting way to start off the first day of racing. It was New Zealand that took the 10 points for the win. Australia edging Canada by way of that penalty with Phil Robertson, the Canadians finishing 3rd. Then France, Denmark, Germany, Emirates, Switzerland, USA, and Spain, your top 10. Canada was in the mix all day on day number 1. Phil Robertson at the helm. We're now lucky to go down on the water and talk with Phil Robertson and the Canadians as they look to a big day number 2.
Hi Phil, it's Stevie back here, and obviously you'll be hoping day 2's your chance to shine out there, but I want to take you back to race 1. You're sat in 4th at the moment, and that penalty has you out of the podium as things stand. How have you got on overnight debriefing that? Have you got any more thoughts on that penalty?
Yeah, it's good, you know, look, the umpires actually came back and said they were wrong and made the wrong call there, and should have been a green, so yeah, it is what it is. It's just we've got to keep playing the game. We're in a great position. We're 4th, but 2 points off the lead, and there's 2 races to go, so mate, it's anyone's game still.
It is, and in my humble opinion, I've always had you down as the best starter. I don't think yesterday you maybe were your normal brilliant self on the start line. What adjustments are we going to expect from this Canadian team today?
Yeah, hopefully something a little better than yesterday, but we did something positive yesterday, and that was pass a lot of boats around the course. So, yeah, if we get off the line, I think we'll be weapons. So there's a big focus on that right now.
Well, Phil, thank you very much for joining us, and yeah, you get back to practicing those starts.
That's what I'm doing. Good man. Thanks.
So Phil Robertson and the Canadians looking for a big day today. Remember, they need to be in the top 3 to get themselves into the event final. They are always in the mix. And you can be sure of one thing, Phil Robertson will put his team in the best possible position to make that happen. Looking for a big performance today as Canada currently sits in 7th place overall. 1 point back of Spain in 6th, and looking for a win here in season number 4. Stevie, I think we're all excited to see what happens today. Despite the light win, all the teams are going to look for a very calculated way to get themselves into the top 3 and the event final here in Abu Dhabi. Well, day number 2 of the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix is just about ready to get underway. A slight wind delay has the teams out there practicing right now before they got out on the water. Lisa Darmanin caught up with some of the skippers ready to do battle today.
Well, Tom, you're just about to head out on the water. Another tough day ahead.
It is a tough day. As you can see behind me, there's not too much wind there, but look, we've got to work on our weaknesses, so I guess it's a good thing. As hard as it is to suck up at the time, we'd love to be 15, 18 knots ripping around foiling, but it's not the case, and we've got to get better in these conditions, so bring it on.
Well, good luck today, and hope you can stay calm out there.
I'll try to stay calm. I'll do my best.
Thanks, Tom. Good luck. Well, Quinta, I know you guys are about to hit the water. Are you looking forward to having another shot at this race course?
Yeah, I mean, another light day this season, but I think we just improve as a team with all the techniques and the starts, and yeah, just determined today to pass the cat.
All right, well, good luck and have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Taylor, coming in today 3rd, I'm sure we were hoping to see you on that podium.
Yeah, excited for the day. We're, you know, in a great place and looking forward to making that final race.
How's the morning been? You guys ready to rumble?
Yeah, we first launched today, so we're down here early and yeah, just had a very casual morning, and got a little bit of football in before we going out on the water. So it's a good warm up for us.
You seem relaxed. Good luck out there.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Phil, what's going to be the key to getting off that start line today?
Being first at Mark 1.
That's not getting off the start line.
Getting off the start line, it's going to be different today, actually. Yeah, we don't really have that turn at Mark 1, which means the start's going to be a bit more open. Top of the line's going to free up a bit, but it actually looks like the boat's going to be hard to win, and there should be space there, though. Or hard to lock out, I should say. So, yeah, you might see us up there.
Have a good day. Thanks, Phil. Giles, day 2. How did day 1 go?
It was tough, real tough. Yeah, we felt like we put the boat in a reasonable spot, but just didn't get out of Mark 1 that well. And yeah, in the pack, and then by the finish line, fighting for the back end of it. So yeah, hoping for a bit better today.
Well, it looks like another tough day ahead. Good luck to you and your team.
Thank you.
He said tough day for your team yesterday. What have you debriefed overnight?
Yeah, we looked at the starts, the trigger pull especially. So yeah, today we're gonna look to transform the good positions we had 10 seconds before the start, and really pull the trigger better than the boats around us.
Your team seems excited to get out there, so we'll let you go. Thanks.
All good, thanks.
And we are just a few moments away from the 5th race here at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix. 2 fleet races today before the final event, and we'll find out who will be the champion.
Hey everyone, I'm coming to you live on the water. It's Super Sunday, it's the big day, it's the grand finals, and we are here out on the water, and it's very special because we have the Spanish boat right behind me right now. We have actually 2 interviews going on at the same time, and it's right before racing. All of the teams are out on the water. They're training and practicing some maneuvers. I see a lot of them. They are practicing the start. They're practicing that first reach, and a lot of them accelerating and looking at Mark 1 and finding what's the angle to it, and that'll decide on whether they want to start at the top of the box or at the bottom, windward or leeward, because it does make a big difference, especially in this lighter stuff, where you start. Yesterday was a good example because although boats that start at the top of the line, they did have a good start, but the angle to the first mark was low. So they had all other 9 boats to leeward, and they just didn't have enough speed to break through and get out in front. So again, today is going to be all about the starts. And if you can get to Mark 1 in first, make all of your decisions, and you probably have a really good shot at getting top 3, to be honest. And after that, right now I'm seeing there's not a lot of breeze at the bottom gate. A lot of it is right where the grandstands and up are. So I think after the boats round this leeward gate, they should just be looking upwind and finding where the next best pressure is and just heading there. The Spanish had a really awesome day yesterday, and they performed pretty well in this light air. So I'm sure that they're just going to be keen to get off the line well, not get surrounded in any messy areas, and avoid any penalties. So the boats are slowly heading toward the start for this next race, and I'm sure it's going to be very exciting, so stay tuned.
Abu Dhabi is a spectacular, modern, and cosmopolitan destination famous for its stunning architecture in this high-rise capital city. There's so much to offer. Home to turquoise waters set back from the incredible cityscape, golden sands, and attractions like the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque and heart-pumping action sports. It's a world-leading sporting destination too, famous for its incredible facilities, hosting prominent international sporting events. Abu Dhabi is established as a preferred choice for athletes and teams from all over the world. As we take a look at the standings after 3 races here at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix, it is Spain on top with 21 points. There you see New Zealand at 1 point back in 20. Tie between the USA and Canada. As remember, they're battling for that third and final transfer position. And then a nice tight race between France, Australia, and Rockwell, Denmark. Tough going so far for the Brits. Emirates GBR in 8th. Then Germany sits in 9th on 12 points. And the Swiss, of course, being ducked 4 points for contact and practice, sit in 10th with only 9 points so far. Well, we're waiting for Mother Nature to provide just enough pressure. We're just moments away from race number 4. Remember, 2 fleet races today. Then we cut the field down to 3. And then it is on to the event championship to find out who will take home the top trophy of this event. Earlier, Lisa Darmani catching up with the Spanish, who were very fast on day number 1.
Okay, Diego, you are just about to get underway for the next race. So are you excited to get racing today?
Yeah, we had a good day, very good day of racing yesterday, and today we have good conditions, a course change, and yeah, really looking forward to the battle.
And a little bit of foiling going on. Do you think that will happen in the race?
Yeah, I think many things can happen here. It's super tight. As I said, course change, so the strategy will change a bit. It will be very interesting to see what happens.
We're just a couple of minutes underway, so we'll let you go, but thanks for chatting.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
They did yesterday, Stevie. That's the big question. Can you repeat what you did on day number 1? Because day number 2, the pressure's ratcheted up even more.
Well, and also I think the big thing is what can they learn? What have they learned from yesterday? What have the coaches been able to find inside that Oracle cloud, inside all the data we can get? It's all very well having all these data points and all this information, but you've got to learn from it. You've got to find out what's the question I want to ask, what do I want to get better at? It would be really nice to get into that data, find out what happens.
And there it is, Emily. This is your world, data and information, and there's a lot happening there courtesy of the Oracle Cloud.
Yeah, it's quite impressive, the setup that they have there. Each coach has, multiple screens, which shows them not only the data of the boat, of their team, but also all the other teams. So in conditions like this, they can look at the setup of each of the 29-meter wings. And so I'm sure there's going to have been plenty of eyes yesterday on the Spanish and Kiwi setup, which could make the racing today even tighter.
And you see race management making the call. Looks like we are coming up on 4.5 minutes away from the first race of today. It'll be race number 4. Remember, 2 more fleet races. It'll be 4 and 5, and then only the top 3 teams will race in that event final. There are the boats out there getting ready. All 10 international teams are ready to go, and so we are in a situation now, Stevie. It is a countdown. Get yourself ready. At this point, as we found out yesterday, we don't want to be talking to the sailors or the coaches at this point. Within 5 minutes, they are locked in.
They're already in their pre-race routine because the boats are the positioning set so early in this light winds. The boats are, they're still going pretty fast, but for these boats, they're actually not going as fast. And if you find yourself a little out of position at 4 minutes out, you're going to struggle to get to the place you want to be on the start line. So whilst they're going back towards the start line, they're kind of going the other way. It's actually all part of that pre-race manoeuvring as we see the Australians potentially a little bit late getting off their rib here. And it'll be interesting, can they get from that support boat into the right place as soon as possible?
So you hear the teams talking about what they will do. Earlier, Lisa Darmana down on the dock talking with some of the skippers about their strategy of what they will do. And this is a critical situation. You think with the light wind, it'll be a lot easier, it'll be a lot slower. But in talking with some of the skippers, they say it's actually a little more stressful because you have to put yourself at the right spot at the right time. And here's what Lisa Darmanin found out earlier today.
The starting area here in Abu Dhabi is really small, so means the boat's coming quite late and then you don't have a lot of run up to the start. But yeah, it's just about trying to accelerate at the right time. Normally the boat with the most speed at the gun's the one that wins, and it seems here that somewhere around the middle of the starting area of the start line seems to be good. So looking for more of that today, and if we can get our nose in front for a couple, we'll be into that final.
To be honest, it's just the fastest boat at the gun. Normally gets a good start. They normally are able to get the hold pop before everyone else, and then they sort of clear out. So I think it's all in the final approach and making sure you've got a good run up to the line, but still having a gap to do that.
To be honest, on days like yesterday and today, it's mostly about breeze. So it's just getting the head out of the boat and trying to get clear lanes and everything. But then because all the boats are a lot closer together, coming into marks and stuff, the mark zones are super important, who you've got overlaps with and everything like that.
So when you're trying to get, we call it a hull fly, you're just trying to find any clear air you can, kind of hope that you're getting it right, and then you just go for it. Do a big grind up, stall out the wing a little bit, get that hull up, and then try to reattach the flow and get the boat going forward.
It's hard for for everyone, but for the wing trimmers to keep the flow on the wing. The wing is so big, so powerful, it's easy to stall it. So yeah, it's 90% of my focus, of every wing trimmer focus is on the wing, on the flow.
Yeah, we have our tactician and our coach in the coach booth helping us with comms, and it's actually super active. So it feels like if they were on the boat, and obviously they have access to information that we don't have lifetime, and for us it's an amazing help. So they'll be racing with us on the boat today again.
Well, it's the best time of the day as we are less than a minute and a half away from racing. This will be race number 4. Remember, this race, one more fleet race, and then they cut the field. And Stevie, right now, strategies are in place. It's time to engage.
Strategies in place. That red line, that's the start. It'll turn white when the race is open. And right now, yeah, they're trying to hold that front row place, keep clear wind, and be ready to go.
Emily, it looks like a complete mess right now there, but above, it looks strategically, you want to be where?
Well, it's all about keeping that gap between your boat and the line so that you've got enough space to get your acceleration, but not be too close. You kind of end up over, pushing each other over.
Or hear from Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell.
Exactly, all jostling for the same position. That blue spot there is the target position, the fastest point on the line.
France looks a little early to me, Stevie.
France looks early. Canada is struggling there. They're trying to find space at the bottom of the line. It could work out well for Phil Robertson. France is early. New Zealand a little bit on the early side too. I like where Canada is. Can Tom Slingsby on board Australia wind that green ruse up and going here as we see France nearly stationary in the water with 13 seconds to go. They're going to struggle to accelerate. Spain, I don't see a gap for Spain. It's going to be Denmark, USA at the top of the line. It's all about the acceleration now. USA looks early. This is so tight this start. Watch for that line to turn white. Oh, it's carnage. It's carnage on the start line. Nearly the whole fleet over the line. Well, this is going to get complicated. They've all got to get back behind Spain. Spain will be first at Mark 1, or should be the boat that's able to lead round Mark 1. Everyone else needs to slow up. And the Spanish back behind them, and it's now a battle to somehow control your positioning to be on the transom on the back of the Spanish boat when Spain gets to Mark 1. New Zealand, they're clear now. They've dropped behind Spain. France are clear because they dropped behind Spain already, and they're up and racing.
Slow. Can I come up?
And Australia may emerge as the real winners here at mark number 1, as somehow Tom Slingsby finds a path through there. Penalty absolved, and he is off and racing.
I think that was my mistake, Todd. I think the Australians were clear at the start line. I just got there were too many sails up on there. That was my mistake. Australia was clear, so everyone needs to now get back behind Spain and New Zealand for when they get to this start line.
The French trying to find a path through here. They are clear. They're allowed to get around that mark, but the Swiss, the Danish, the Canadians are in the way.
And what about the Kiwis, Stevie? They are still mired in the back. I mean, there is a gridlock of boats in front of them.
I'm not entirely sure what they're doing there. I think maybe they're not clear that their penalty's clear. I'm surprised they haven't gone round. All these other boats need to lose this penalty as soon as possible, because once you're past Mark 1, the umpires will just start adding more and more penalty points. As we can see here, look how tight it is in the pack. And the trouble is, as soon as you're near another boat, there's just no wind. The big 29-metre wings block the wind getting to the sails, and Germany are nearly stationary in the water.
Think to me.
Penalties have started to clear as we get round Mark 1 here now. Just Denmark with a penalty outstanding. Everyone else must have cleared out far enough behind the French. And it's really, really tight. A penalty on Germany. That would have been for diving inside Switzerland.
Actually not coming in like this. Actually, it's pretty good, mate.
And somehow Australia and Tom Slingsby got the early invitation to the party, because they are off by more than 200 meters on the rest of the fleet. Remember, this is race number 4. 10 points to the winner of each race, and Australia could desperately use these points.
could really use the points, couldn't they, Todd? That's for sure.
Yeah, so we've got our live speeds here. The Australians doing 16 kilometres an hour, so really stretching out that gap with everyone behind them doing only about 10. But as you're talking about the points there, looking at the numbers, this is going to shake up our leaderboard massively, as the Kiwis and the Spanish, who were the top 2 boats from yesterday, are quite far back in the pack. So it's going to look pretty different after this.
Yeah, the good news is Australia is away. They were down the leaderboard overall, and the rest of the fleet now, Stevie, fighting for those scraps of second and third. But those second and third points are huge, especially for teams like the USA and Canada.
As it currently stands, these are the teams that would see through to the final. Canada, Australia and France, with US tied on points.
It's very, very tight on these points. There's a lot of golf left in this hole, that is for sure. As we see Australia round the gate there, they're round gate 2, heading in towards the fans on the shoreline. And well, it's a real battle of positioning. France have managed to work their way out of that. They did a good job of being clear at the start line as well. As we see now, New Zealand, they're back in the pack. Spain back in 8th place. They've really got work to do. USA right in the fight again. A good first day for Taylor Canfield and his crew yesterday. And if they can hold on to this position here, they'll be in a similar strong position as we see Australia. I mean, they are just gone.
And if you were with us yesterday, the 3 races we had, Stevie, a different course. We had that slalom aspect. That has been taken out. So it looks like a lot of teams now are going, oh, yeah, we don't have to do that S-curve thingy. It is a straight, normal race, as we normally say.
Yeah, that's a great point, Todd. And to be honest, I think that's a real positive, because I like the fact that teams get that opening at Mark 1. The course is clearer. They can sail tactically. It's not such a procession. So I do think that's a nice change we've made for day 2 here. Means the race has opened up already. New Zealand, one of the beneficiaries for that, up to 4th on the left-hand side, our leaderboard. USA as well. They've done well on this downwind leg. Really nice gains by the US here. They're moving up through the fleet really nicely.
Okay, trim the jib. Trimming jib. Good. Hold. No lower for me, Taylor. A good angle. Just be patient at this angle.
Good comms coming off the USA boat. Trying to keep themselves in a top 3 position. Emily, it's a good conversation. You hear a lot from fans and sailor fans. They will say, you know, despite the fact that there's not high winds, this is still high pressure, very technical sailing.
It definitely is, because the teams are working really hard to get one hull flying. But if you try and force it, if you sail a really wide angle to the wind, try and build your speed, you can end up sailing massive zigzags, way more distance than is necessary. So it's finding that balance.
I think the difference as well with sailing, if you compare it to, say, motorsport, the cars will all be restricted to the same horsepower. Well, the horsepower we've got is dependent on what wind you've got on the race course. And if you're out in front where Tom Slingsby is in clear wind, he's got as maximum horsepower available. But as soon as you're in the pack and that wind's being disturbed by the boats in front of you, the available horsepower just isn't there. You just cannot go as fast physically.
Just hold your weight for a little, and then I'll go max diff before you.
I mean, Australia traditionally rule the world in the windy weather, but in the light weather, it's been their real Achilles heel. And I think, let's say, Tom Slingsby maybe done his homework.
Well, he talked about Tom Slingsby, that is, talked about getting to start better on day number 2, Stevie, and I don't think it could have gone any better for him. You get 7 teams that get penalties right off the bat, and he finds himself, and it was like Moses parting this Red Sea, went right through.
Yeah, well, he just got the timing spot on and good speed at the gun.
That mark's moving. Up or down.
He's now just got one more manoeuvre he should have here to be able to set himself up. The trouble the Australians have got now, and it's not a big problem, but as you can see, they're so far ahead that they're going to be coming towards the boats that are heading upwind. And those boats coming upwind will normally have the right of way over you. So the mistake Taylor Canfield and the USA made in race 3 yesterday, got a bit of a tangle when out in this big lead. Expect Slingsby, we heard his crew already talking about the other boats, but for Nina Curtis, for Kinley Fowler, who will probably be on the opposite side of the boat to Slingsby, they got to have their eyes out looking for other boats.
Mark 1 just keeps moving, and we can't catch it.
Oh, and Canada makes contact.
Oh, apologies for the industrial language out there. The course clearly moving around. Our marks there are able to be moved on the race course, but clearly that's not what we need to see. Phil Robertson slightly heightened. That Canadian boat won't be helped by the fact he sat in 8th place. He's going to be feeling pretty tense as it is anyway.
As you look at the screen right now, there you see the Aussies, and look at this one more time.
There we go. We can see that marks moving right in front of Canada, and Canada, oh, Wow. They're all controlled remotely so that they can be moved into position. It's now in position. You can still see a little mark off it, making it quite tricky for Tom Slingsby.
Can you please stop moving Mark 1?
So
He's
the
talking
Canadians
about
and
Mark,
the Australians don't like it.
Yeah, he's talking about Mark 4 on our screen now. It was Mark 1, but it's being repositioned to be the mark in here. And fortunately, the Australians have got a pretty big lead here. It shouldn't actually affect the result of this race. But unfortunate that he's having to do this extra move here.
Yeah, right here. See the Australians make a bit of a right-hand turn, then it's a left and a straight shot to the finish line. So first world problems for the Australians right now as the rest of the fleet's trying to sort out 2nd through 10th, as Tom Slingsby will have these 10 points, barring any major disaster here. But look at the top of your screen. That is 3 through 9 of everyone trying to get a top 3 position.
We talked yesterday a lot about, can I turn a 9th into a 6th or a 7th? And that's what New Zealand have done right now. They were back in 9th, 10th at Mark 1. They're up to 6th. I wonder how crucial that 3 points could be. For Spain and for Denmark, well, this could be really, really costly. Canada as well, even. They need that result, especially with the USA up in 3rd. Great positioning for the US. And can New Zealand overtake any more boats? There's a little bit more wind.
I mean, this is huge news for the US team. If they can hold on to this position, this will put them in 1st place overall on the leaderboard going into the final race.
The win in race number 4 goes the way of the Australians. Tom Slingsby comes back to SailGP and picks up a victory on Championship Sunday in race 4. Nice drive by the Adrenaline Lounge, giving the fans a little bit of a wave, and they will quickly debrief, and that is about as close you're going to get in sailing. This is a thing of beauty. The 29-meter wing majestically sailing by the fans here in Abu Dhabi.
Here we go. On the inside, Germany, they have the right of way over the USA. USA have got to give Germany space to round the mark. It's going to be really tight. US are going to get slow in this maneuver here. Has he given enough space? It's almost a mirror image of that move that Canada and Australia had yesterday. Great for the Germans. This could really keep the German team in the hunt to make the final. The points are going to be so tight. 2 maneuvers coming up for Emirates Great Britain. They're very slow coming in here. France in 2nd place. Brilliant result for them. And this is going to give us a tense race 5. That is without doubt.
So Emily constantly crunching the numbers as France comes through. They will grab 2nd. The Germans look like they're going to hold on for 3rd.
I mean, this is a great result for Germany, but it's not quite enough yet to see them move up into that final race. But brilliant news for France and USA. Currently, they're sitting 2nd and 3rd in the overall leaderboard.
Nice. High flyby here for the guys.
There we go. That's a bit of a showboat for the crowd.
Here we go. Not too much.
Yeah. Oh, they're showing off there. Yeah. Stuart Biffle, the wing trimmer there, clearly managed to get Eric Heil's heart racing a little bit. I'm sure the fans on the shoreline will have enjoyed that.
Taylor Canfield, the Americans will grab 4th. Good points for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Sebastian Vettel would have felt, team principal of the German team, to see the boat heeling over quite that far. But great result for the US team. 5th place for Great Britain. Well, it might not be enough after a tricky day 1. And then New Zealand in 6th. It's going to be tight on the points. Kiwis need a big race 5.
Emirates GBR will grab that position in 5. 6 goes to New Zealand. Canada will take 7th, and then the battle's on for the 8th, 9th, and 10th.
It's not bad. The French probably jumped us. The US are in front of us.
So Phil Robertson assessing their situation as 7th. Could have done with a better result, but Stevie, 17th. That's got to be a SailGP record. 17th penalized off the start.
Well, yeah, I've got to say, need to review my performance on that one as well, Todd. They were over early. I was overexcited. There was just so much action on that start line, and I think that just is the heightened pressure of these really tight starts. We can see here Switzerland are trying to get rid of a penalty. They've got to let Denmark out past them to clear their penalty, but they don't want Spain getting past in the meantime. So that's what the Swiss are doing there. Their penalty should go off when the Danish go past them.
Yep.
There it goes, and that means they get their 9th. They had to do that aggressive move. A lot of people feeling hard done by on the penalties.
So Denmark will hold on for 8th. Switzerland will drop back to 9th. And Spain, big winners on day number 1, Emily, they get a 10th.
really disappointing for the Spanish team because they were one of the only teams not to be over on that start line, but just could not get past that bunch in front of them.
So the entire fleet is in, and that is quite a performance for the Australians. Despite the major penalty pileup at the start of race number 4, somehow the green and gold come through and deliver a win when they needed it most. So let's take a look at the report card across the fleet. Remember, we had 3 races yesterday, 2 more fleet races today, and then it'll be the event final. Big winners on day number 2 so far, the Aussies. Australia's report card looks like this: a 2nd, a 9th, a 6th, and a 1st. France now tied on them with the USA, all even at 26. New Zealand 1 point back at 25, and then you've got Canada on 23, Spain on 22, and then Germany, Denmark, Emirates GBR, and Switzerland. So a lot to play for still. Remember, you want to be in the top 3 after this next race. Going down on the water now with the Australians. Tom Slingsby, welcome back and congratulations. We're excited to hear about Leo at another time. But Tom, let's talk about that race. You saw the carnage in front of you. Where did you find the space to squeeze on through?
Yeah, a lot of luck, I guess. We were the only boat that wasn't over the start, it felt like. When the umpires started calling out the list of boats over, it just kept going. And so, yeah, we didn't break the start, got clear, and had a nice race.
Tom, you probably didn't have your greatest day yesterday. What did you learn last night?
It wasn't rocket science that we learned. We learned we need to get off the start line better. It's pretty simple. With that type of racetrack, if you start well, you're going to get a good finish. And yeah, all I said to the guys, we get 2 good starts today. We're going to make that final. So that's what we're working on. We've got 1 to go, and let's see how we do.
Well, it's very tight, Tom, and we wish you the best of luck for the next race.
Yeah, thank you.
So Tom Slingsby and the Australians, 1 more race to go, and they are trying to get themselves back into the final. Remember, they are the 3-time reigning and defending champions, but they have yet to win a race this year. Could Abu Dhabi be the one where they get it done?
So not only is a really short run up to the line difficult for accelerating off of it, it also makes it really hard to slow down. All of these teams knew that they were over or going to be over early, so they're trying to kill speed as much as possible. You see the Danish here trying to take out the other 2 boats, sail more distance to make it to the line on time. But then with the majority of other teams were over. But that gave the opportunity to the Australians to just wiggle on through. It wasn't great opportunity for the Spanish, though, who, while they weren't over early, just could not get round the traffic jam in front.
Well, yeah, key moments. There you go. This is Moses parting the Red Sea. Tom Slingsby just was the boat behind the line with the good angle as well towards Mark 1. He did a brilliant job of converting that. And as we've seen yesterday, it's always going to be the way, I think, on a day like today. The first boat round is able to sail in clear wind, able to sail their angles, make their decisions. And look, the congestion in the pack, all the boats trying to slow up. And Australia could just sail away and manage to keep the course very simple. It is light winds out there. And if you can get the hull flying, as we can see here, the left-hand side of the boat and now the right-hand side of our screen, they've got the hull up in the air. Good boat speed as they came into the line. And that's what the Australians are going to see for 1 more race.
So Tom Slingsby and the Australians back in the mix. Remember, on the year, they have finished 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd, and 2nd. Still looking for that elusive victory here as the defending champions. Will they get it done? We'll find out. We've got 1 more fleet race to go here in Abu Dhabi.
Well, that was an exciting first race of the day. I'm actually on the motorboat right now, and we are speeding toward Team France, ready to make another interview. And it's incredible being out here. These 29-meter wings are just massive when you see it up close and personal. What an awesome race that was. We saw almost all the boats OCS, and even though the wind is pretty light, I actually find this racing very exciting, just because there are so many close situations with other boats, and it makes it a very tactical race. I found that a few mistakes that some of the boats like Denmark and Spain made was that on the downwind after Mark 1, they decided to sail wider angles in hopes of gaining speed and hopefully getting on H1, which is where one hull of the boat is flying, and hopefully going faster. However, there wasn't enough pressure for them to actually do that, and they just ended up sailing much more distance at very wide angles, like sailing zigzags, going one way on port and then almost going the other way back on starboard. Whereas teams like the US and GBR, they committed to H2, so 2 hulls on the ground. They're a little bit slower because they've got the drag of 2 hulls in the water, but they were able to sail much less distance, sailing straight down to the leeward gate. The Australians, I mean, they didn't have a great day yesterday because they're known to not be super strong in the light air, but they always seem to make it happen on the second day of racing. And I really wouldn't be surprised if they pull it out of the hat and are able to make the grand finals. I think the Kiwis and the Canadians, even the Spanish, it's going to be a tough fight for them to make it into the finals. So it's going to be all to play for and really important for them to get a good score in this next race. I mean, right next to me is the French boat, and they look super stoked to get into this next race. They had an awesome result.
Back in Abu Dhabi as we get ready for the final fleet race here at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix, presented by Abu Dhabi Sports Council. A bit of an update for you. Slight wind delay as we wait for a little more pressure to build. Remember, this is the final fleet race, so we want to get this one absolutely right. That gives us an opportunity to go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin with the French.
Well, I'm with Quentin Delapierre, but they are preparing for the start. Quentin, well done on that race. It was a bit of a scramble on the start line.
Yeah, really good. Good to be at the front of the fleet until the last race of light wind session. But yeah, we just have to do the job in this last race, and yeah, pretty stimulating.
There's still plenty to play for. What's sort of the setup now? Once we cut off you guys, what will you do to prepare?
Yeah, just going down to the starting line now because we are quite late.
Okay, we'll let you go. Thanks for chatting and good luck.
So Quentin Delapierre off a second place performance in race number 2. They've had up and down results so far. Remember, they had a 8th yesterday in the final race. And of course, the French finishing 3rd on race number 2, Stevie, and 4th in race number 1. We always talk about this. You got to look for some consistency.
Yeah, and you just need a little patience out there today. I mean, it's very light winds. Consistency is the key. And you've got to hang in there, keep fighting. It's a real Street Fighter's course. It's very hard. Unless you're at Mark 1, it's not going to be a perfect race. So you've got to just stay in on the small details, control what you can control, try and do good maneuvers when you do them, try and be accurate with your wing setup, and try and not force things. Keep the boats flowing, keep the speed in the boat. That's your only real opportunity to move through the fleet.
And I think most importantly, it's also about just keeping it clean. We've seen how costly all of these penalties are, whether it's from being over at the start or from messing up at Mark 1.
And the Kiwis obviously looking for a big rebound in race number 5 as they finished down in 6th. But Stevie, that was a great improvement because they were able to salvage what was probably a 10th and they turned it into a 6th.
Well, they're 1 point off the final.
Yep.
If they hadn't managed to take those 3 places, they'd be 3-4 points off, and we'd be saying that's really hard. All they need to do, well, not all they need to do, there's an awful lot of complexity in it, but probably if they go and get a result in the top 3 in this race, that will more than likely be good enough to make the final for Giles Scott on Emirates Great Britain. And I think the story we need to really think about, it's very easy to get lost in this Abu Dhabi event. It's, you know, it's tight, right. It's tense. There's a season as a whole, and for Denmark, for Emirates Great Britain, they're having a shocking event here at the moment, and those season points could be disastrous. So this last race, they might only get back to 5th, 6th overall, could be season defining.
So all the teams getting themselves into position as we come up on just over 8 minutes to go before the final fleet race here in Abu Dhabi, and then the field will be cut down to only the top 3 teams on points with a lot of tiebreakers still to play for. So we'll see how it all plays out. And there is the course right now. 8 minutes to go until the final fleet race here on day number 2, Championship Sunday. As part of SailGP's commitment to sustainability, we have taken the coaches off the water. So those are fewer boats out there burning the fossil fuels, and we put them on shore. So there is the coaches area right next to SailGP management. Everyone adjusting to this new thing, but it's been pretty awesome to see that. And another great thing to see, of course, is the CEO of Emirates GBR, Ben Ainsley. Ben, I've got to ask you, have you adjusted to the new normal and this new kit that you're wearing?
Yeah, it's taken a bit of time to get used to it, watching from the shoreline. But I've got to say, it's a much tougher job than I ever realised. So big credit to these coaches. They've got a lot of data they've got to get on top of, and it's fascinating to watch the racing from this side.
And Ben, do you feel like you can bring, having been out there so recently and, you know, really at the top of the game still when you've hung up your boots, do you think you can offer a lot more coming into the coaching side now with that knowledge you've got?
I don't know. I've got to be careful what I say in front of Rob Wilson here. He's a pretty good coach. So I think a little bit, but not really. It's all we can do is feed back to the data that we can see and what we can see from the box here in terms of the wind on the course. But it's still down to the sailors. You know, they're in the thick of it, making these key decisions. And from what I can see here, it just shows how tough it is. Whether you're on the water or you're here in the coach box, it's an incredibly tight race course, and that's really reflected in the results.
Ben, you have first-hand experience, so tell us what it's like to be on that boat right now. Are you crunching numbers? Are you working with the coaches? You know what you need to do to get yourself in a top 3 position.
I think, again, you can see the difference between success and failure, and it's very small. It comes down, you know, that last race for us, we're maybe a couple of feet over the start line, and that's going to put you in a tough spot. So there's small margins. It's about just trying to execute, trying to keep the boat moving and stay in the best wind. It's very, very tough conditions for all of the sailors out there right now.
Ben, we wish you the best of luck and an open invitation. If you ever want to try your TV hat, we can find a spot for you.
Thanks, guys. I'll work on it.
Yeah, there we go. Ben Ainsley now, the CEO of Emirates GBR. Good to have him along. 5:45 to go before the start of race number 5. We go on the water one more time. Taylor Canfield and the Americans with an opportunity to get into the final. Taylor, if you can quickly give us an idea of what's going through your mind and your team and what you need to do.
Yeah, we're excited. It's you know, a good place to be, tied on the lead right now. So yeah, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We're getting better every race, and yeah, we're pumped to have the opportunity to be in the final.
Where's the place to start on this start line, Taylor?
Oh, just away from other boats. Name of the game is staying away from the madness. So it's pretty hectic out here, as people are seeing, I'm sure. And yeah, it's game on.
It might be slow, but there is some calm amidst the chaos. Taylor Canfield, we appreciate your time. Team USA, as he said, in a tie position right now. Top 3 is where you want to be to get into that event final. Now we go on to the water for an update on the conditions and much more. Here's Lisa Darmanin.
Well, Todd, the wind is pretty much the same. I'd just say that it's a lot more consistent across the race track. So there was a little bit more wind towards the adrenaline lounge, towards the crowds, but it has moved across the racetrack. I would still favour that side if I was the teams. The other thing, as we're seeing, is there's no hull flying going on downwind, so no H1 mode. It's all happening on the upwind. The other thing to watch out for is that it looks like you have to do 2 manoeuvres up the run to be able to make the mark. So teams have to really calculate their path, and we did see a split in the last race, but I do think that those flybys along the adrenaline lounge, it just looks like there's a little bit more of a funneling effect happening there. But you know, I just had that interview with Quentin, and there's so much intensity out here in that start. It's just so much pressure, and we keep reiterating it, but it's happening, you know, 4 or 5 minutes before the start. If you're not in the right position, that run up is going to be so difficult, and yeah, pressure's so on out here.
And Lisa, a quick follow-up to you. Do you think, as you know most of these skippers better than most, do you think anyone has the intestinal fortitude to roll the dice and come in from the back of the pack like we've seen other athletes be able to do and find that gap at the last moment and try to shoot it?
I don't think so. I think not that they don't have the skills to do it. I just don't think that that's really an option with these 29-meter wings. Basically, where those wings go, the wind just evaporates. So it's kind of a wall, and I just don't think that you have the opportunity to punch through like we've seen in the past.
Good to know. Coming up on 3:15 to go, Lisa Darmanin down on the water. She's keeping us abreast of what is going on with the conditions. We'll check in with her throughout the race. And Emily, this is the time now where everyone is crunching the numbers, and we have got an absolute logjam at the top of the table.
Yeah, well, with 3 teams all on the same points, and then the 4th and 5th team not far behind, it's going to be a bit of a match race out there. They're going to be identifying who their targets are, who they need to be racing against to get into that final. There's some teams that are out the back end, and doesn't really matter how they do, they aren't going to make it.
So really, TV, we got basically 7 teams fighting for 3 chairs. It's a little bit of musical chairs right now. When the music stops, you better have a chair.
Yeah. Well, we got Quentin de la Pierre leading that French team, and I think for him and Manon, it's going to be tracking the points. For Kevin Pepenet, the wing trimmer, well, we've just seen how crucial that wing trimming role is. Mathieu Van Dam, he's the grinder. He's providing the horsepower to help Kevin trim the wing effectively. But I think the pressure's on this French crew. They were so close in Dubai. They've not had their season 3 success yet, but if they start to turn things around here, then anything's possible for this French crew.
Coming up on 2 minutes to go. Just moments ago, we spoke with Taylor Canfield, the driver for USA SailGP, a new team, a revamped team, as Jimmy Spithill has moved on to other ventures. And there's Taylor, Leo, Victor, and Sarah, and they will try to get in there. Remember, the Americans in that 3-way tie on 26 points. So, Stevie, I got to think, play it safe, keep yourself in a top 5 position, and you're golden.
Well, this could be the greatest day for the new USA team, that's for sure, if they can manage to hold this start line as they've done so well. And it's just worth bringing your attention to the leaderboard on the left-hand side. At that final mark rounding, we saw Switzerland having to take a penalty where there was contact between them and Denmark. So there's 4 more penalty points awarded to Switzerland. So it's been a costly weekend for them. And Denmark 2 penalty points. But look there, 8th and 9th, Great Britain and Denmark in the season standings. That is disastrous. They've got to make something happen to get themselves back somewhere near mid-table if they can. And then for Spain, all the way through, it's what a fight for the final.
And if you're looking for some spice, look no further than New Zealand, Canada, and Spain as they try to get themselves into the top 3 here in race 5. 1 minute away from the 5th and final fleet race, and then we are down to the top 3 for the event final, and now let the dance begin.
Well, Australia have decided to lead things back here, Todd. Them and Emirates Great Britain towards the upwind end of the line. They're closer to where the wind's coming from. They're close to the line on the Great Britain there. USA, he's going to have to hope for a gap to open up Taylor Canfield because he's got himself on the 2nd row. Spain very tight at the bottom of the line, and there could be opportunity for New Zealand. He makes a move on Canada at the top of our screen. Canada has to turn away from the line. Disaster for Phil Robertson. Can the Kiwis re-accelerate that black boat there? Can they get it going as Canada have to turn? 18 seconds to go. They're going to be very slow at the gun. It's all about timing now. Switzerland on a long run up. I like where they are. Denmark well positioned. New Zealand accelerate. 9 seconds to go. Tom Slingsby out the middle of the line looks good too. How's your timing in the middle of the line, Tom Slingsby? Oh, I think they're over early, Todd. He is over early. Oh no, he's got to drop to the back of the pack. Wow, he's got work to do there. Seriously upset on board that Australian boat. It's about acceleration now. Taylor Canfield on board the US seems to have got it going as well, but they're on this end at the bottom of the screen. It's slower to Mark 1. Germany and Spain are going to be first at Mark 1. New Zealand are out the back. France are in the pack, but what an opportunity for Spain, Germany and USA.
And Spain need it the most as we look at mark number 1, the Spanish winners of 2 races yesterday. Can they get a 3rd and punch their ticket into the event final?
And down, slowly.
USA are going to be round 3rd again. Incredible consistency at Mark 1. Germany, they lead at the moment. They've got to keep clear of Spain, though. Spain have the right of way in that situation, but they decide to turn away. Like, looks like they're setting up.
Down, coming down, helicopter path.
Oh, helicopter puff, he says. I don't know about that. Germany has just now, look at the gap open up. Spain slowly moving away. New Zealand turn.
And these positions could be huge for the race to the final. This would see USA, Spain and France through. But look, Germany are in 4th. That puts them right on the edge for qualifying for their first final.
This is so tight, and New Zealand have turned right on Mark 1. I think that's a pretty good move, in my opinion. They're going to get clear at wind as they head down here. Spain have clear wind, France have clear wind. Everyone else, other than New Zealand, at the moment are sat in turbulent, disturbed wind. And it's all about re-accelerating your F50 after the manoeuvre. It's going to be so tight and tense at gate 2, and it could define this event.
Absolutely cliche, but it is certainly a race of inches. How close was Australia from nailing that start, Stevie? And it would be a totally different situation because right now they are in jeopardy of not making a final for the first time this year.
Well, at the moment, I think they were probably a metre, if that. I mean, it was so close, but that's devil's in the detail, Todd. And it's those small bits. New Zealand, as we can see, they're going to get good wind coming onto them. They're slowly accelerating forward on France. I imagine they might have to do another manoeuvre before gate 2, but this could be great news for Kiwi fans. USA are hanging in, doing a great job. Germany hanging in, and for the Spanish, which good news for them out in the lead. But yeah, these points are going to go to the very, very last mark in this race. This is going to be so tense, and expect the next 30 seconds to a minute to be crucial because it's going to get very slow and very congested at gate 2.
What's so difficult here as well, particularly for the Germans and the Spanish, is even if they hold these spots, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what's going on behind them, because if the Kiwis have a good race, then they'll leapfrog a bunch of the other boats and make it into the final.
And it's surprising to see some of the heavy hitters in the sport. France, Emirates, Great Britain, Canada, Australia in the very back of the pack right now, and that is what Emily's alluding to, because they are losing points, and those points are going elsewhere. For Spain, coming off a 10th place finish in race number 4, this would be the supreme bounce back if they can get it done. Let's say this to the rest of the fleet. Take that.
Take that, indeed. And yeah, Spain, great work. New Zealand have made huge gains down here. They were 8th, and they're going to be somewhere around 5th. Could be vital, as they'll now be in the pack. USA, they're in great shape. I like this decision by Taylor Canfield. Split away from Spain and Germany. Don't follow in the disturbed wind. Get yourself in your own clear wind. Nice move. Giles Scott on board Emirates, Great Britain. But yeah, Tom Slingsby, this is rabbit from a hat moment now. You've got to find something here, and you've got to find it quick on that Australian boat.
Spain leads, Germany in 2nd, the USA in 3rd, then it's New Zealand, France, and Denmark. Emirates GBR in 7th, and Switzerland, Canada, and the Aussies out the back.
Not a lot.
And that race, the final, just keeps changing. Currently, this will see the Kiwis, Americans, and Spanish through, but the French are tied on points with the Spanish, so just need something to happen.
How big of a deal is that? Look at the Kiwis, Stevie. They were mired back in 7th and 8th. Now they're in 3rd, and look what that does to their standing.
It's incredible. We said it was going to be tight. We said it was going to be about consistency. Spain have been the absolute polar opposite to consistent. But if you are going to have bad races, win the next race. It's exactly what they did yesterday. They had a terrible race 1, came back with a win. Here they go again. And if they deliver it, you've only got to make the final. And it doesn't matter how you get there.
Massive right there, 47 true. Yeah, massive.
Talking about the wind has rotated to the right, so the wind's coming off the shoreline to the left-hand side of our screen wall. That means they'll be sailing nearly straight up the ladder lines. Great news for Spain, great news for Germany, not good news for the US boat, because all those boats behind them could potentially get there with no more manoeuvres, and USA are going to have to do some more.
Leg 3 of 5, it is Spain out in front, Germany in 2nd, the USA in 3rd. Let's go down on the water. There you see the standings as they are right now on the water. Lisa Darmanin, any hope of more pressure coming for these teams that are in the back of the pack?
How far is the boundary?
Well, it's so puffy out here. Spain did an absolutely fabulous job. When they did do that tack, they got a beautiful angle, and I thought they were going to have to do 2 manoeuvres, but they are just pointing and shooting at that top gate. The other teams have come over this way, and that's exactly where I'm sitting, and I can tell you what, the wind has evaporated once more, so very slow. The teams like France, Roppel, Denmark, and Australia not flying the hull at the moment. New Zealand also struggling and getting in a little bit of a battle with Emirates, Great Britain as well. So I actually think Canada could gain out of this just because they're in more free air away from the other boats, even though to me it looks like the less favoured side.
Phil Robertson, the Canadians, currently sitting in 6th place. Remember, every point counts, 10 points to the winner, and right now it is Spain that is streaking off. This would give them 3 points out of 5 races, 3 wins, I should say, out of 5 races, Stevie, and that's going to pretty much lock them up into the final, event final. But then the battle is on. Will it be the USA? Will it be New Zealand? Will it be Canada? Will it be France?
Well, at the moment, New Zealand, the British boat got a lovely gust of wind, managed to get across in front of New Zealand, but they're clinging on, aren't they? They're absolutely clinging on in there. France need to overtake some boats, and they're not making that happen just yet. USA, Taylor Canfield, what a great job they're doing on board that US boat right now, loving these light winds. But New Zealand has a hull out, so does Emirates Great Britain. I think the Kiwis will have a chance to stay in the hunt here, but they probably are going to want to gain at least 1 more place to keep themselves without too much anxiety. penalty towards the end here because the French are going to be chasing them down hard.
And Emily, it's the situation right now with the French sitting in 9th place. They can do themselves a favor if they can pick off 1, maybe 2 more boats before this race is over.
Exactly, that's all they need is that one more position, and that would see them through to the final. But right now it isn't looking promising. They are quite far out the back, and it looks like Australia will be ahead of them as well here. But it's brilliant news for the USA team. They're holding on to that 3rd position, and that is all they need in order to make it through to the final.
Be patient, sail our own race.
Simple.
Well, that was actually a picture of Philippe Presti, but that's Mark Ivey, the US coach there, just saying keep it simple. That's pretty solid advice, I'd say, right now, because the hardest thing to do out there is keep it simple with the congestion in the pack. But 3rd place for the USA at the moment. They look like they're in great shape. Spain, well, look at that. It's a cakewalk for them. New Zealand have managed to get up to 5th. Look like they've done a good job. Australia, they're up to 7th. They're making some big gains. They have the right of way now to do 2 turns, turn left. France up to 8th. It's going to go well for France. They're gaining places quickly. Oh, the points are going to be crazy tight here. In my mind, New Zealand are probably going to need to overtake the British to feel safe because France have made a huge gain at the top of this win leg.
9th to 7th, the French and Quentin Delapierre move up 2 positions, and they have dug themselves out of a hole, but will it be enough to get them into the final?
Oh, it's so tight on board the French here. They've done well there. Not a lot they can do from here. They're probably relying on a mistake from New Zealand if they're going to have a shot at it. And New Zealand are in an awkward position relative to the Canadians right there.
And because of all of the position changes behind them, it wasn't enough. That overtake just didn't quite do it. So currently, still need another position.
And meanwhile, it is Spain that come across the line. They win race number 5 after finishing dead last in race 4. The Spanish bring it home when they needed it most.
Great result by Germany. What a day for the Germans as well. 2 fantastic races. They're going to need some boats to drop back through the fleet to make it pay off for them. But the battle, in my eyes now, is between New Zealand and Canada. Can New Zealand stay ahead of Canada? That will be so decisive in this race to the final.
Currently sitting 5th and 6th with the Kiwis with a slight advantage, but Phil Robertson's got a great position.
Got a good position, but I think he might have to do 2 more manoeuvres from there. But New Zealand look like they're making it down to this mark with nothing else. Taylor Canfield, he's being pressurised by Giles Scott now, but he's positioned the boat well.
Eric Heil and the Germans do cross the line in 2nd. So a decent day for them on day number 2, championship Sunday, a 3rd and a 2nd.
This is a huge moment for the German team. Now, while that isn't enough to put them through to the final at the moment, that does finish them on 29 points, which is only 2 points off of making a final.
Here we go, USA do get round in 3rd, but just as we left the shot a moment ago, the real battle is Canada and New Zealand, and I think the Canadians, there you go, they're on the inside, they've managed to sneak down, they're ahead of the Kiwis. As they come in here, they will round that mark before the Kiwis. Oh, that could be disastrous.
Right about now, Phil Robertson's remembering in the start box how Peter Burling kind of pushed him to the outside and gave him a poor starting position, and now he's going to have the opportunity to really slow the Kiwis down.
He is. New Zealand faster, but they're going to have to sail all the way through their disturbed wind, and I just don't see that happening from here. Robertson absolutely blocking them off here. It's aggressive from Phil Robertson. He's really trying to press down over New Zealand here. He could get himself ending up with a penalty. I'm surprised Phil Robertson's been that aggressive. He could have just sailed himself to the line, I think, here. He's turned it into more of a fight than perhaps it needed to be.
USA finishes in 3rd.
And even if the Kiwis do finish in 6th here, that will still put them through to the final, as they will have 30 points.
Well, that is tight. Look, aggressive from Phil Robertson. He's pulling up all the tricks from his match racing locker here, trying to slow these Kiwis up. But he looks like he's going to get 5th. New Zealand just need to stay ahead of France, is what Emily's saying to us here. That's the key.
And that might be a situation here, because look how quick France is coming on. They've got 1 hole in the air, and they are closing the gap quickly as they come to the finish line.
New Zealand look like they're just going to hang in there.
The Kiwis are nice overall right now.
Phil Robertson's thinking, if I can slow the Kiwis down, can I make to the final? That's what he's saying here. He's trying to slow the Kiwis up and stop them making the final. And okay, Canada finish. He was trying to stop. Oh, the Kiwis are going to get there before France, are they? Are they going to get there?
Yeah, by a boat length.
Oh my word, Canada made that so hard, trying to force New Zealand out of the final. That was 2 Kiwi drivers, no love lost at all.
And with those finishes, that means the USA, Spanish and New Zealand teams will make it through to the final.
I mean, that's so tight. First time in season 4 that Australia don't make the final.
So it's the Americans, the Spanish, and the Kiwis that'll battle it out in the event final here in Abu Dhabi.
Sorry about that start.
And that will be the first time in season 3 that the Australians, the 3-time reigning and defending champions, will not be in the final, Stevie. This is impressive by the rest of the fleet catching up. And Tom talked about it in the press conference. If you want to knock off the old dogs, show us that you're the best. And right now, mission accomplished. But Australia does have an 11-point overall series lead, so they will take a bit of a hit. But wow, that is some big change of the dynamics.
Well, and I'd only caveat that by saying if Tom Slingsby does have an Achilles heel, it is light winds. So this is, if you're gonna throw a few punches at Tom Slingsby, throw him at him when he can't defend as well, which is in the light wind. So I don't suspect he'll be feeling too worried about that, as we should be now moving on to the windier portion of the season, which should fall into their wheelhouse that little bit more.
Next up, it'll be the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix in Sydney, Australia. Tom Slingsby's home event, February 24th and 25th. We look forward to seeing everyone down under. And the Swiss will come through in 10th as they make the drive-by Adrenaline Lounge. So the 5 fleet races are complete here. Event number 7, season number 4, the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix. The USA, they are in on 34 points. Spain is there as well, 32 points. And the Kiwis, Peter Burling, does an absolutely masterful job in that last race to get just enough points to edge out France on the tiebreaker. So they are in. USA, Spain, and New Zealand, one more race.
And a little deja vu for the Spanish tactic at that start, and boy, did it work. So they were very, very slow going into it, and they didn't have much runway towards the starting line. But starting out there with the Germans, who wiggled their way through into that gap at last minute, meant those 2 teams had a brilliant angle to that Mark 1. It wasn't the most high-paced start, but they were faster than the others, got a hull flying, and rounded Mark 1 in a 1-2.
Well, yeah, and what does that split down to in the numbers? That's, of course, what we always want to look at next. Well, here we go. Up it comes. Average speed. There, column, Spain. Well, that's no surprise. If you're out in front and you have an average speed that high, you're going to be able to sail away. Germany, interestingly, picking up a top speed, and I think Germany will be very, very happy. But Australia, once they get stuck in the pack, down in 9th, we can see them there, and we look at that average speed column for them, just 13.5. I mean, it's so much slower when you're stuck in the back of the pack. Of course, now everything changes. We go to the final, there's just 3 boats, there's a bit more space on there. Could it be magic?
I'm just happy to get to this point. Mother Nature showing up just in time to give us some good racing. And Steve, I'll tell you what, there were plenty of moments that we could pick from race number 5, but there was one moment at mark number 1 where it really was such a determining factor of who was going to get this race win and who was going to get the points.
Yeah, well, it comes down to details, doesn't it? Australia were probably only a metre over, Spain and Germany ahead, but look at New Zealand, potentially stuck right back. They're in the middle of our screen behind France. Crucially, they're behind France at this moment. So let's watch how this plays out. Spain and Germany, well, they keep it pretty simple and they move away. Spain did a great job. They just changed from one hull in the air to away. France now round that mark in the background there, and they set up for a manoeuvre, but they leave a little gap. And as we come out here, you watch this. France are turning, but New Zealand, you give them half a chance, they'll take a whole chance, and they did. They spun inside France right now, and that was it. New Zealand overtook France clinically. Spain sailed away, USA were consistent, but New Zealand have made the overtakes when it mattered most. They were never going to catch Diego Bottin and his crew, and Spain now bring it home. Took the race win. And really this weekend, the Spanish, literally, if they're not first, they're last.
Yep. In the end, it is the USA, the Spanish, and the Kiwis that make it into the event final, and they will battle it out for the 10 overall points on the season. A great opportunity for all three teams, showing just how much parity there is in SailGP. And it was a battle to the very end for the Canadians, the Kiwis, and the French come up about a boat length short again of not making the final. Remember, they just missed out in the last event in Dubai, so the French looking to get some points, hopefully on day number 1 when they get down to Sydney. Well, SailGP's cutting-edge program Inspire continues to make a lasting impact at each event site around the world, and Abu Dhabi has been a massive success. The three-pronged approach to making improvements wherever they go is taking full advantage of host cities' local talent, and there's plenty of local talent here in Abu Dhabi.
SailGP Inspire has been running for quite some time now, and we've had a great impact around the globe. What Mubadala has enabled us to do is amplify that program by 2 or 3 times. As you can hear behind me, there's over 1,000 participants in our Inspire program here in Abu Dhabi, and it's our largest program to date. Okay, let's go. The 3 main pillars of Inspire are our learning, our careers, and our racing program.
Inspire Learning is an educational program where we teach the science behind sailing, and we use our F50 as essentially a science lab.
Go, go, go.
Coupling this with a technical tour, which allows the students to get behind the scenes at SailGP and see the tech and innovation.
Give a round of applause, well done. Well handled. The careers program allows those who are slightly older with a little bit more knowledge to apply their skills and knowledge alongside our professional teams. Every department can take on a careers candidate at every single event. We've gone on to hire some of those candidates because they did so well.
I've done a little bit of everything, so I think that's why it's a great opportunity to get my hands into this field, get a look at how it works, have a look at media, marketing, even the technical side of it. It's just everything in one. It's been great, and everyone's so welcoming. I'm having a great time over here, yeah. It's been a great exposure.
Right here, right here, right here. Yes! Our racing program uses a smaller hydrofoiling boat called a Wasp. So they're going to be racing in front of the grandstand, getting that full immersive experience of what it's like to be a professional sailor, and hopefully we can elevate them to their next level on their sailing journey. What we do here at Inspire is not important just to SailGP, it's important to the entire sailing community around the globe that we increase participation in sailing, we increase excitement in sailing, and we continue to grow our sport as well as the SailGP League and franchise.
Back in Abu Dhabi for the Championship Sunday at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix, presented by Abu Dhabi Sports Council. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin with you as we've made it to the final race, the event final, and unfortunately, once again, just missing out on that final is France. We talked about it during that last race. France missing out on a tiebreak situation at the last race in Dubai, and here they are in the same situation as we go down on the water. Quentin Delapierre, hate chatting with this kind of situation, but your report card looks like this: a 4th, a 3rd, a 9th, a 2nd, and a 7th. But you guys do move up from 8th overall to 7th. So Quentin, what do you take away from this weekend's racing?
For now, a lot of frustration, to be honest. That's the. I mean, we were here at time 1 and moved back from the top 3. I'd have to analyze the first jibe, but a shame for the team because the whole team did a good job for months now in Icare.
Quentin, I think all I can say from the outside is you definitely look a lot better, and I do feel like it won't help, but I feel like you've been a little unlucky. You're heading on to Sydney next. You absolutely dominated there, so surely you can turn some positivity for your crew around looking ahead to the rest of the season.
Yeah, Sydney will be our next target for sure.
All right, Quentin, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you in Sydney next month, February 24th and 25th at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. So the French just missing out, but on the positive side, they move from 8th place overall up to 7th. So they pick up 1 position with a lot of racing still to go.
Here we go. We're going to look at a big moment for the Canadians in race 1 that they had out there on the water, and it was tight. Our mark bots were repositioning themselves, and they unfortunately repositioned right across that. Phil Robertson, well, not happy, quite understandably, to be perfectly honest. That's a shame that's happened. Good refocus from Phil Robertson. But that just slowed them down a little bit. I don't think really was definitive in their race to the final, but it certainly won't have held the tempo. And I think Phil Roberts is probably going to come away from this weekend feeling like the lucky gods weren't with him.
He's going to be happy to get down to the southern hemisphere. So the Kiwi skipper of the Canadian boat getting down to Sydney and then New Zealand, where the big wind should be there. And he does excel in those conditions. And you know he'll be up for the fight. So we are almost ready for the event final here at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix. Great racing ahead as we've got the USA, the Spanish, and the Kiwis set to do battle here on the Arabian Gulf. Well, we've got just a few moments away from the final race of this competition. It gave us an opportunity to talk to some of the athletes to find out which is the biggest pull on their emotions, winning or losing.
Yeah, losing is a strange feeling. Sometimes you can hate your sport by losing.
Obviously, losing feels super bad, no? When you put everything into something, those highs and lows are way farther apart. I kind of go through it internally, but yeah, it hurts anyway.
Don't know why. Yeah, I mean, something inside of you, eh? What would be the reason why you hate losing? I don't have a good answer for that, I think.
Losing is really powerful. It can teach you a lot. It can make you angry as well, but on my side, I'm really trying to get as many lessons as possible from losing and turning it to sort of a win.
I'm doing sailing for winning. I'm doing SailGP for winning.
I think winning's definitely always a lot more fun than the other side, but that's definitely why we're all here. You know, why we love kind of sport, the competition of it, and you know what motivates us to keep pushing.
When you win on hard things is even better, no? Because it tells you that you're doing the proper work, and it's the best feeling in the world, probably. Winning can have a different meaning for a lot of people. Third place can feel like a win. Sometimes the win is really just being first.
Is it an ego thing? I don't know.
That's awesome, guys, honestly.
And there is the scene, and there are the 3 protagonists who will take part in the event final here at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix. It'll be the Americans, the Spanish, and the Kiwis. Stevie, surprised to see the Kiwis get in there. I thought they were on the outside looking in, but as Emily was crunching the numbers, they found a way to move up the ladder and get themselves into that top 3.
Yeah, I think they've probably not sailed their best weekend ever, but they've made the final, and if they come away with the win, who cares? I think what's going to be interesting for them, and we'll get down on the water, we can see they've won a lot of these races already. 5 out of 7 finals. That's a pretty strong hit rate. Add that to a few Olympic medals, a couple of America's Cups. You can tell they're used to being in this rarefied atmosphere. So I probably would put them instantly as favourites to win the final now they've made it.
So Peter Burling and the Kiwis set to do battle once again, and it's Diego Botín and the Spanish. Remember, they won the Los Angeles event in similar conditions, light wind, not quite as a heavy resume and CV as Peter Burling, but the Spanish have shown they are quite good on these conditions, winning 3 races of the 5. They've got to be the hottest team heading in to this event final, but it only takes 1. And then the Americans.
And here we've got Taylor Canfield. Now, this might be his first final as a SailGP driver, but he has heaps of experience in non-foiling catamarans, so I definitely wouldn't be counting him as an underdog just yet.
Taylor Canfield heading up the newly revamped USA team with Jimmy Spithill moving on to new ventures involving a new team. And there are the Americans right now with that 29-meter wing majestically sailing through. As they get themselves into position, they've got about 8 minutes to prep themselves, and they are going to run through some operations on board that boat to make sure they are running smooth, because they will have an opportunity to pull off a huge victory as we go down on the water. Now, Peter Burling and the Kiwis. Pete, you're back into the final once again. The start seems to be the tail of the tape on this situation. Will that play true with just 3 boats out on the water?
Yeah, I think if you've led a Mark 1, you've won the race pretty much this event. So big emphasis on that. Obviously completely different with 3 boats to 9, but looking forward to getting into it.
Blair, just a quick question for you, mate, before you run across the boat. You've not had a lot of fresh air to sail, and you've been in the pack all day today. It's been pretty hard work as the wing trimmer, I imagine. Does this 3-boat final now give you a good chance to actually show what this Kiwi boat can do speed-wise?
That's a long way right.
Yeah, we're hoping so. We're just having a quick run at the line now, get our timings, and then, yeah, hoping we get some fresh air.
Thank you very much, Blair. Good luck to the team.
H1 here.
So the Kiwis get back to work as they power up that big 29-meter wing sail. We'll see what they can pull off here. Just a short time ago, Lisa Darmanin down on the water working. She caught up with the hottest team out on the water, the Spanish. They lead the Armada into this event final.
Well, congratulations, both of you, on making another final. It looks so intense out here, Flo.
It is super intense, and we can see again, like yesterday, no? You can go from last to first, and it's all depending on split-second decisions, and yeah, it's not easy, but yeah, at the end we managed to, so super happy and stoked for the team with the effort we've done.
And Nicole, it must be so hard. It's very puffy out here, but you guys had a beautiful angle to that gate and laid and really extended your lead.
Yeah, it's quite hard, like Flo said, to really get those open lanes. But yeah, the start, as always, super important. And once you get out on front, it looks a lot easier from the front.
And it will be a little bit easier to start with just 3 boats on the start line?
Yeah, the game will change fully now. So we need to have a mindset, think about a 3-boat plan instead of 10. So there will be a lot more lanes for sure.
It was a pretty close finish, but it's yourselves, USA and New Zealand in the final. What do you think of that lineup, Florian?
I think it's great. We see the Aussies not in the final for the, I guess, first time this season, no? And for sure it can change things, but yeah, anything can happen now, and we really want to go for it.
It is super intense, as I was saying, but is it all about staying calm?
Yeah, 100%. It's about staying calm and about really getting every inch out of every boat-on-boat situation, because things are close, but as soon as you stop a little bit too much or you're a bit too conservative, boats around you stretch. So yeah, we really have to be on top of our game.
Well, thank you both for chatting and good luck for the final.
Thanks very much.
Nailing the time and distance on H1.
Way position. The Americans also in there, the new kids on the block, you could say, Stevie, they look very strong. We knew they were going to be good in this light wind, and they definitely stepped up to the plate.
They've sailed fantastically, and it'll be interesting when we get on board the boat in a minute for an interview, I'm sure, to hear where their head's at. I mean, it must almost feel like a victory already because they've sailed so well. I think if we got a chance to talk to Taylor going into the final. Taylor, 2-time world match race champion. You've gone from 10 boats down to 3. Do you feel like this is kind of one of the areas where you'd expect to excel?
Oh yeah, we're built for this. Let's go. No, it's going to be exciting. It's a different game, one that we haven't played yet. So yeah, you know, I think we just got to sail our boat, and we'll be good. You know, we've been getting better every day, every minute we're out here. So I'm going to keep pushing. Feels good.
Taylor, you've got an all-star crew out there, including Sarah Stone, who will act as strategist. Sarah, not to put too much pressure on you, but everyone's counting on that strategist to deliver the information. With this light breeze and just 3 boats out there, how does that change your approach to this race?
It's a team effort for sure. With 4 of us on board, everyone's got a lot on, and I think the biggest thing for us is to stay calm and race it just like any other race.
And how important do you think the start's going to be, Sarah? Is it all on the start or a bit less like that than we've seen in the other races?
The start for sure will be important, but with less boats on the line, there's better breeze that you can get into, less of a wind shadow, so there'll potentially be more opportunities, especially if a puff comes through and you can pop on the foils.
Sarah, thanks for your time. Taylor, congratulations to you guys getting into the final. We wish you the best of luck as we are coming up on 4 minutes to go before the start of the event final. Good time to go back down on the water. Lisa Darmanin has a bird's eye view of the conditions and what we can expect. Lisa, everyone's hoping for some big wind, but maybe we keep the conditions the same because that will make for some great racing.
Well, the conditions are the same. It's not quite bird's eye, it's more like water level, but I can tell you that it is very puffy. So some moments there's not much wind at all, but sometimes it really pushes in. It's really gusting, there's lots of opportunity. And from what I saw in that last race, I know Mark 1 is so important, but whether they decide to go straight or jibe immediately, like we saw New Zealand make that big gain, I think that they just, well, I don't know if they got lucky or they saw it, but they were able to get that sliver of pressure and take it all the way down to the gate. The other thing I'm seeing from down here is it looks like the wind has rotated a lot more right and the course is mirroring that. So the bottom gate has moved a little bit further away from the stand. So yeah, it's going to be another tough race, but like everyone's saying, it is going to be about this start set up. And the other thing is the USA did say something about foiling. They did pop up when they did that turn down from Mark 1 on the foil, so it'll be interesting to see if they push for that. And there is less disturbed wind out here, which is 3 F50. So yeah, it should be an exciting final.
So Lisa Dormanin giving us the Pelican's eye view, because the Pelicans usually stay on the water, so that's another bird, just clarifying. So there you see the Americans coming up on 2:45 to go before the start of this event final. Maximum points, 10. That goes to your overall standings. Right now, the Australians are on top with 52 points. The Americans, though, sitting in 5th place right now, Stevie, and they are just 5 points back of the Kiwis. So the Kiwis have the most to gain being this one. If they can take 10 points, that puts them on 50 points, and that really closes the gap on the Australians as we head down under.
Yeah, and it's momentum, isn't it? They had such a tough middle part of the season, the New Zealand crew, but when we talk about momentum, all 3 teams here have just got an absolute chance to really make their season have a move. For a brand new USA team, what an opportunity. I've got to be honest, I didn't expect it. I'm not sure they would have really expected to be in a final already. For Peter Burling and New Zealand, well, they couldn't even race in Italy due to the accident they had in Saint-Tropez, and their season looked to be on the ropes, but Andy Maloney, well, Blair too, Andy Maloney, Liv Mackay, the strategist, all top world-class sailors. They've won most things they've been involved in, and they've won an awful lot of these SailGP 3-boat final formats. And then for the Spanish crew, for Diego Botín and his crew, well, they started the season, they came out the blocks and we were like, wow, here we go. And then through that European leg, they just drifted away. They had a final in Saint-Tropez, and then we've not seen them for a few events. So I think for Diego, for Florian, for Nicole and Joel, big opportunity to get the wheels back on their season.
Under 90 seconds to go, and the third and final team in this final, the Americans. We had a chance to talk with Sarah Stone, Taylor Canfield. We got to get credit to Leo Takahashi and Victor Diaz de Leon as they will try to pull off the big win here and give themselves the maximum 10 points. Remember, if Spain wins and the USA finishes in 3rd, Spain will overtake the Americans for a top 5 position.
That's right, and I think Leo Takahashi, their flight controller, he was with Team Japan in the first 2 seasons. So he brings a bit of experience. Interesting now, that blue marker there towards the middle of our screen, that's the place that is pole position to start. But as all the wing trimmers told us before the racing today, it's about hitting the line fast. USA, he's decided to be the lead back boat. He's decided to lead the fleet in. He has control. Spain will take on the role of this sniper. He's looking for the opportunity out the back. And, well, New Zealand somewhere in the middle, but he'll be relying on his timing and then hoping for better boat speed as he comes in. 30 seconds to go. The Spanish coach is there on the shoreline looking out. Big gap off for New Zealand here. He's given himself an opportunity. USA close to the line. They will be near that pole position, but will they be fast? It's going to be a battle between USA and Spain. New Zealand has space. Space is normally good with 15 seconds to go. The Kiwis start to wind it up. 10 seconds to go here. Watch for that line to turn right. Here go New Zealand. They turn it towards the line. They're going to be the fastest boat. How's your timing, Pete Burling? It's going to be go for the final in here in Abu Dhabi, and the Kiwis are fastest at the gun, but can they roll over the top of the US to Mark 1?
And the Kiwis here at 30 kilometers an hour of boat speed, so they are right on the edge of being able to pop.
Peter Burling and the Kiwis with a master class in patience as they approach mark number 1 here at the event final in Abu Dhabi. And remember, every single driver told us, if you get a great start, that is 90% of the battle.
That's a brilliant start by the Kiwi crew. They look like they're setting up to do a maneuver straight away at Mark 1 here. Slow turn down for the Kiwis, trying to keep control of that inside position. They made a gain there at Mark 1 when they were in the pack. Interesting, they've chosen to turn straight at the mark. maybe thinks he's seen wind. It was a slightly darker patch of water we could see on the screen there. USA follows round behind them. They're quick to turn. Spain and USA are going to be in a private battle. Great news for New Zealand. Gate on the right-hand side of our screen. I imagine New Zealand will try and set up for a left turn. If they can get round this gate clear ahead, it's going to be a big advantage to that Kiwi crew.
So the Kiwis out in front here on the final race of the event. New Zealand, USA, and Spain battling for the top 10 points, and this would be huge for the Kiwis if they could win back-to-back events. Remember, they won in Dubai just a few weeks ago, trying to pull off the double here in the Middle East.
They look well lined up at the moment. Spain potentially overtaking USA, but I anticipate USA are going to look to set up for a right turn at the bottom of the course here. Expect a left turn for New Zealand. They're going to go in and give the fans a bit of a show on the shoreline. USA is going to be forced for a right turn here, I think.
The Kiwis starting to decelerate here. Spain closing that gap, still all to play for.
We hear the voice there of Blair Tuke talking about the wind for the next leg. So the Kiwis were talking about turning up round this mark, and then they said we're going to go into attack. Well, that's when they turn the boat through the wind and head back across the course. So we expect a left turn. What do USA do? I would think you'd turn right here if I'm on board USA. Spain, they're going to follow, but they'll be looking to make an attack after the gate.
We've seen a lot of gains coming, as you mentioned, Stevie, before when they go in front of the fans on the shore. So we'll see if that plays out now, as they are all looking for pressure, looking for ripples on the water, looking for dark patches. The Americans split away. Will this pay dividends for them?
Well, that's maybe a good time to go down to Lisa on the water if she's with us. Maybe Lisa can tell us what she thinks was the right call to make at that bottom gate.
Yeah, got it.
Well, I definitely think it was a good call by the Americans. You know, if you're not winning this race, it probably is a good thing to split. But the New Zealand team, they were very prepared to be able to cover the rest of the fleet. So they've just actually turned and they're going to basically cover. So go with the other teams and make sure that they don't find any more pressure than them. So yeah, it's sort of classic battle out here. Spain are the only one with a hull in the air at the moment, but New Zealand's about to pop up.
An early maneuver by Taylor Canfield as he may sense what they were trying to do, and he turns back towards the shore.
Yeah, classic move for a match racer there, really. He wants to be trying to get himself heading in the different direction to the other teams. Up towards the top of our screen where the fans are, that's where we've seen historically there's been more wind. That's where the USA are sailing right now. So he's going to be heading there on his own. If there is more wind when he gets there, that'll be good news. That's hard for us to see from this angle, but the USA is making a move to try and make something happen in third place. That's all they could really hope to do. The Kiwis and the Spanish, they're neck and neck. But for Spain, the problem they've got is when they do their next maneuver, the Kiwi boat will be able to just slam dunk straight in front of them and block the wind onto the Spanish wing. So Burling in complete control of the Spanish right now, but Canfield, he's on a wing and a prayer, but potentially opportunity for the US boat if they can find more wind.
Currently, we are seeing the Kiwis with the best wind speed, so they've got 13 kilometers an hour of breeze where they are in that middle area of the course. USA have found a little bit on the top of the screen, 11, 12 kilometers an hour, but hopefully it will build as they get closer into the shore.
Not to be a spoiler alert, Stevie, but we have seen whoever has taken the whole shot in the previous 5 races has gone on almost every single time to win the race. That being said, the Americans have rolled the dice now. Do you think it's going to pay off?
Well, I think it was the move they had to make. It was the correct move at the time. I mean, if we're perfectly honest, they need a little bit of luck. Yep. But the reality is we can't control everything on a sailing boat race. You can't control what the wind's going to do next. You can hope to see it, hope to predict it, but if the Americans had stayed going in a straight line, they were definitely going to stay in third place. So he made the right decision at that time. Looks like a little gain at the moment, but I imagine New Zealand will turn in front of them, potentially look for a left turn here and block the US boat. But it's a gain for Canfield. And it's going to be tight between USA and Spain again as the Kiwis. They set up 2 more manoeuvres for New Zealand to get down to this final turning mark 4. If he can accelerate away from here, he's in good shape, but the US are not letting them off the hook just yet.
Emily, they share the data across the field, as we've seen all the coaches have the same data. If you're Taylor Canfield and your coaches, are they hearing that there's better pressure offshore, so head that way and follow the Kiwis?
They will definitely be keeping an eye on the wind speed that all of the boats are reading. That's the really interesting thing about the equipment that we've got. It allows all the teams to be able to see the live speed, direction, and help to predict what shifts are going to be next.
Spain were entitled to room inside there, Todd, and that's just great news for New Zealand. I'd say that is the moment the Kiwis should take the win. The Spanish have forced the USA to sail wider. Good news for USA up to second, though. making gains, but I think that will be now an insurmountable lead up to the Kiwis, really, because they've just stretched out. Although USA, 1 hull flying in the air. Spain have only got 2 hulls in the water, and the Kiwis have got 2 hulls in the water. So US are making some gains right now.
So the Americans looking for a little nitrous right here. If they can get past Burling and the Kiwis, there you see mark 4 at the top of your screen. They've got to go to that mark, take a left-hand turn, and then it's straight shot to the finish line. And early maneuver now. Now it's Canfield and Burling almost neck and neck.
Good move again by the US. He had more speed. He's going to be leading on the longer tack towards the next mark. He's just hoping that wind comes down from the top of the screen and hits him before New Zealand. New Zealand will have a faster angle from there, but only if they can stay in the same wind as the USA.
They're skimming down a lot. That copy. Okay, now they're apparent wings more on the normal place.
Burling, he doesn't look relaxed. Just look at him leaning back there, willing the boat forward. Him and Blair Tuke have been in some tight situations for Olympic medals before, for America's Cups, for SailGP victories. They're just eking forward on that New Zealand boat. They do have the faster angle here. Canfield has positioned himself well tactically, but I think New Zealand's done enough.
Do the Americans have the right ley line into that mark? Are they going to have to make another maneuver?
They might have to do 2 at the bottom. They're either going to get very slow or do 2 maneuvers. They will have the right of way on the Spanish when they get there, though, so it's good positioning, but I think New Zealand's too far down the road now. It's going to be back-to-back for the Kiwi crew.
And the realization now coming on board for Taylor Canfield and the Americans. Great just to be in this final, Steve, because they get the maximum points, but Emily, it is tough to take down the Kiwis when they're sailing like this.
It is, and we know that they are one of our light wind specialists. The battle now is between the US team and the Spanish.
USA has the right of way here, but Spain has 2 times the boat speed. Spain should be able to slingshot round the outside, open a gap for the US to fit in, and then whip round the outside. I think, well, hats off to Taylor Canfield and his crew, because he went for the win. He did not settle for second. It's cost them a place, but hey, you've got to be in it to win it, and they have been. Diego Bortin's round, but it's the Kiwis look set to bring it home.
So in the final at Abu Dhabi, it is New Zealand. It is Peter Burling and crew that come across the line. That's 2 event wins in a row. The Kiwis take top honors in the UAE.
Could it be magic out there for this New Zealand crew, Todd? I mean, what a finish, what a performance, really. Absolutely nailed the start.
Credit where credit is due. Emily Nagel called this one 2 days ago. She said, I like the way the Kiwis are sailing. All right, who did you get the intel from? Because you were spot on.
The data never lies.
Spain will finish in 2nd place as they will pick up the 9 points, and that will catapult them from 6th overall to 5th. And hats off to Taylor Canfield, the Americans, just getting into the top 3 with a talent that is out on the water, Stevie. That is huge for a new team in SailGP.
Yeah, and they attacked that final. Wow, I mean, you know, that was some aggressive racing. They made the right decisions when they needed to. He went for the win. He was clearly not just happy to settle for second out there. He'd got past the Spanish, and it was like, right, how do I get past the Kiwis? Didn't work for him, but hey, like we say, I don't think he did anything at all bad in there. It was good positioning. The Kiwis, just hats off to them. They nailed the start. Their timing, their speed at the gun was incredible. And I think, you know, they've just scrapped hard all weekend on New Zealand. I think they'll have a lot of work-ons when they go away. They've not started well until the race that you have to start well.
So while the Americans and the Spanish were entangled out on the start box, looking to get the prime position at the pole start, everyone forgot about how they forgot about it, but they forgot about Peter Burling and the Kiwis as they stayed out back and hit the line at full speed, and no one ever really threatened them until the very end. We now go on board with New Zealand. Peter Burling, 2 in a row. It's got to feel great. This light wind has suited you guys so well. And again, we talk about the start. They seem to have forgot about you, and you saw that opening. It must have been a great feeling when you caught that pressure.
Yeah, well, it was such a big battle for the lured in that we just managed to gauge off and just go straight over the top. And we kind of knew it was going to be a completely different start in that one with 3 boats instead of the cluster we've had in the last couple, so it was awesome to capitalise, make the most of it, and yeah, what an awesome feeling. Start 2024 off with a win. Huge effort to everyone, team, fella. We've been battling all weekend, had some really good ones and some absolute shockers, but to put it together there at the end and both those last 2 races, just to scrape through and then to win is, you know, awesome for us on the season overalls.
Blair, you keep running off when I go to talk to you, mate. If you could just come back on camera, that would be absolutely great. What does it mean to the team? You had such a tough summer through the European leg, but you seem to have turned things around. Your form is unbelievable. How are you feeling?
Yeah, amazing way, like Pete said, to start 2024. Midway through last season wasn't easy, that's for sure. But yeah, to bounce back like we have shows a whole heap of grit from the team. And yeah, I mean, these light-air races probably aren't the most exciting for people to watch, but yeah, we're finding our way through and sailing the boat well, and it's hugely pleasing.
Blair and Pete, thanks for your time. We'll let you guys get to shore for the prize giving, and congratulations once again as they win back-to-back races. They win event 6 in Dubai, and then they win event 7 in Abu Dhabi. And now, boy, the news just keeps getting better. They head to southern waters. First it'll be Australia, then their home regatta in New Zealand.
Now, it's a trend we have spoken about before. With the 29-meter wings, the Kiwis typically sail less distance, and here it is again, 2.5 kilometers compared with the 2.6 and 2.8 of the Spain and US teams. So they weren't the fastest on the water on average, but they sailed less distance and hit that line twice as fast as the other two teams, and critically, that's what made the difference.
Emily, you said it before, the data doesn't lie. How does New Zealand just seem to find themselves in the right place at all the times? Right now, we're going to head down on the water, and Lisa Darmanin catching up with the second-place finishers, the Spanish. Lisa, all to you.
Well, Diego, I know you would like to take the win, but second still helps you in the overall championship.
Yeah, it's been overall an amazing weekend for us. We come from finishing last in Dubai, so yeah, for all the team has put an amazing effort between Dubai and here, and it paid off, definitely. It hurts a bit not having made a good start. No, in the final they are so crucial, but yeah, overall the weekend is fantastic for us.
And Florian, obviously, you know, Taylor Canfield comes from a match racing background. I saw you two battling with USA, and then it gave New Zealand the option just to sail their own race.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably one big conclusion, no? We know that often in the final races, two boats get sort of stuck into each other and they start a fight, and then the third one is sort of the one that gets going with speed and starts taking off with some distance. So for us this time, we got in the game with the Americans, with Taylor. They did a good one, so they defended it well. Kiwis got in front, and then at least we had a nice comeback and a nice sort of race with a couple of position changes. So it was, yeah, interesting until the last mark.
Yeah, but you fought to the very end and managed to get back to second. So definitely no stone unturned for your team. Yeah, we feel quite strong. We're getting stronger. We're getting faster. So I believe that we can slowly build more confidence after being last in Dubai. It was an event of last and first. We had 10th and first, and now we had a second. So yeah, we can be happy with that for sure. Well, thank you, Diego. Thank you, Floriano, and I'll see you in Sydney.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So the big question now is, can the Spanish sail in high winds? We saw them win in Los Angeles in similar conditions to this. They finished in second here in Abu Dhabi. So a great bit of momentum for them as they head down to Sydney, Australia. The Americans also in the final race, and they did a fantastic job just getting there. Looked really strong and consistent throughout, Stevie. And now we go on board with the Americans. Taylor, Victor, Sarah, the entire crew did a great job. We'll start with you, Taylor. Wow, congratulations and welcome to the event final. What was that like, just racing against two other boats?
Yeah, thank you guys. It's exciting. You know, to be in the finals is incredible. So, yeah, after second event as a new team and under new ownership, you know, we're ecstatic about that. But, you know, in the end, we're competitors, so we're here to win. So obviously a little disappointing as well.
And Taylor, what was great to watch was you clearly weren't happy with second. You were pretty aggressive tactically after gate 2. You split with the fleet. You got up to second. You took on an attack on the Kiwis. Is first the only option?
I mean, for me, normally it is, but yeah, we do have to consider season points in the end. So, you know, we'll probably look back at that, and I'll take some hits from the team about not protecting the second place. But yeah, you know, we're out there racing, and we all want to win, so we went for it.
Taylor, appreciate your time. We'll see you in Sydney. Taylor Canfield and the Americans finishing in third overall, so they will take home the 8 event points and add to their total, which was 35 coming into this one, which puts them now on at 43.
Here we go, we're going to look back at this start, and of course it's all about the timing. How was your timing, Peter Burling? Well, it was absolutely bang on the money. He was so fast across the line here. He's going so fast, and that was our Rolex fastest start time there by the Kiwis. The best start, they were just 0.5 of a second behind the gun, and well, that detail was enough to give them a decent lead at Mark 1, and they were aggressive. They were confident of the decisions they wanted to make, and I think in this light wind, that's been the story of their regatta, really. Have a plan, stick to the plan, trust the plan, and that split there again made sure they stayed sure of being in clear wind. It didn't give the US or the Spanish any opportunity to really attack them, and that was what was so clever about their strategy, really. They broke away, and from that leading position, well, it's been the story of the event, really, hasn't it? They just sail in clear air, and if you're in clear air, you go fast. But Taylor Canfield and the USA, they were really aggressive. If they had an opportunity to split, they did split. They attacked hard, they pushed hard, got themselves up to second place with this move here. But it wasn't enough. Big lead for the Kiwis, and despite that great speed of the USA, it was the Spanish diving in on the inside here that slowed the US up and ultimately let the New Zealand boat stretch away to take 2 finals in a row, Todd. And well, it was brilliant performance, the US here. Look, they were just pushed off the course that little bit by the Spanish. And that's what can happen in these one-on-one, as they say. It's all about season points. Well, great season points for the USA, great season points for Spain. But wow, back with a bang. Once we've left Europe is New Zealand. 2 on the bounce. They're going to be the winners here in Abu Dhabi.
So the Kiwis come to the Middle East and reign supreme. Once again, congratulations to Peter Burling and New Zealand as they get the win, back-to-back events, first Dubai and now in Abu Dhabi, and they are in position now for the prize giving. And look at the fans that have turned out for this. I'll tell you what, this is the real rock concert as those rock stars take the stage. They do it right down here. I'll tell you what, Abu Dhabi putting on a show. And how about this, Emily? This is the way you want to be greeted. The fans turn out, the flag's there, they're off the water now. This is a whole different look, and kind of cool.
I think it's great that you're putting the sailors on the podium in front of the fans to actually be able to see them up close and personal. They're so used to just seeing them far away on the boats, and you know, this is bringing the athletes right in the centre stage.
And we see there the coaches, Ray Davis next to Pete Burling towards the left-hand side there, the big guy in the middle, Josh Jr., and they've had a huge role to play. We've seen at this event, we've had that first insight of how big a role the coaches have had. And really, for Pete Burling and his crew, it's a case of relight my fire after that summer, because they've turned things around. 2 wins in a row, momentum's with them as we get to the back end of the season.
And there is the boss, Russell Coutts, with the trophy. That'll be presented shortly to Peter Burling and his team as winners of the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix, presented by Abu Dhabi Sports Council. Congratulations once again. New Zealand takes the win here in Abu Dhabi. Good time to talk about money at this point, Stevie, because everyone's gunning for that portion of the $7 million for the overall prize purse, $2 million to the winning team. And the Kiwis would love not only to take that money, but also take out the Australians in the process.
Well, they've done pretty well this weekend. Of course, we're a professional sports league, and as the winners of this event, it's $200,000. So that's not a bad weekend's work, is it? But yeah, when we get to San Francisco, that grand final will be for $2 million now. And, you know, that brings its own pressure. But there's definitely a lot of joy on there for the sailing performance, for the sporting outcome that we're seeing. And really, they have put on a masterclass in the last 2 events.
What a great event. Perfect weather conditions. Could have used with a little more wind, but other than that, no complaints whatsoever. Great job by Abu Dhabi. There are the final results from this event. New Zealand takes the 10 points and the win. Diego Botín gets 9, and the Americans get into the event final with 8. Then it's France just missing out. Quentin Delapierre now venturing into some bigger wins, which will suit him just fine. Great day for the Germans as they finish in 5th. Canada, Australia, Emirates GBR welcome in Giles Scott. He had a great starting day and then just found some rough waters, but he will certainly be back. And then contact made by the Danes and the Swiss, which really put them in the back seat. So after 7 events, it is Australia on top. 6 points now. The lead has been whittled down, and it's New Zealand sitting in second with the Americans in a top 3 position now on 43, even with Rockwell, Denmark. And look how tight it is. Spain moving up. They are in 5th place. Emirates, GBR, France, Canada with some work to do, and then Germany and Switzerland. Wow, it's going to get exciting now as the wind picks up as we head down to Sydney, Australia. We're looking forward to that. That's coming up on February 24th and 25th. It'll be the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. Big waters, big sailing, and a big trip to get us down to the beautiful part of this world. One of the most iconic sailing venues in the world. The Sydney Harbor plays host once again to the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. Sydney, the world's best sailors head to Sydney. For the first time in SailGP history. That will be event number 8, Sydney, Australia. Emily Nagel, you were just down there, and there was some friendly people and some great sailing.
Australia is known for its incredible sailing, and Sydney provides. I mean, fingers crossed for some wind. We haven't had a huge amount the past couple of events, but I know the sailors are eager and raring to go and get those boats up, foiling, ripping, and sending it down the harbour.
Scary thought. Lisa Darmanin and Tom Slingsby on home waters. Oh, my.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've had some fantastic racing there before, haven't we? But I think you've got to talk about form, you've got to talk about momentum, and that leaderboard we saw a minute ago shows the Kiwis ominously up to second. Australia and New Zealand, with those being the next 2 legs where you'd expect them to perform well, those Australian and Kiwi teams, first and second, but with a big gap to third. How massive is that next event from the teams from Canada all the way up to USA in third?
Emily, let's talk about those teams that excel in the high winds. Who would you anticipate doing well, because you seem to have the pulse of the fleet right now?
Well, it's an interesting one because it does tend to be our more experienced teams, you know, the Aussies, the Kiwis, but my eyes are still on the Danish. They underperformed here, but I think their time is coming.
What an event it has been. We thank the organizers, everyone that worked so hard to put this on. The wind finally came and we had some great racing. The Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix goes down as a huge success. So on behalf of my colleagues, Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris. We say so long from the Middle East as we make the turn now to the Southern Hemisphere, and we look forward to the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix Sydney. That's coming up February 24th and 25th, and then it'll be on to New Zealand. It's only getting better here. Season 4 of SailGP. And for now, it's time to celebrate as the families make their way down. The party continues on the waters here of the Arabian Gulf. As we bring it to an end, we've enjoyed our time here, and we wish you the very best in a very happy 2024. So for now, we say so long, and take that takes us home.